So in this video we are going to look at this Game Boy Color Pokemon edition that I have had in my collection for quite a while now. I've been meaning to get around to fix it, but I just didn't. So it's finally time to tackle this fantastic little device that's, I assume, quite a rare one. I don't see too many of these about. It's not in the best condition. There's quite a lot of scuffs on the screen, as you can see there. We are missing the rear label and a battery compartment cover, and there's quite a number of kind of like dents and dings around on the case. So if I can find a good example of one, so there's quite a bit of scuffing around about there. You can see just down this side here, that might clean up nicely with the dirt kind of taken off, but it will still have a bit of a gouge in the plastic. But I paid £48.50 for this off eBay. Advertised as not working, so we'll test that in just a second. It does come with a copy of Pokemon Yellow, which in itself has some value, but this copy is quite in bad condition as well. So you can see there the top of that sticker where it was poking out from the top of the cartridge slot over time has faded, but the rest seems okay. The back seems a little bit scuffed up and dirty, but we'll see if this even works to start with. First thing to do, let's get some batteries in this and test to see if it does indeed turn on. So I've got my IKEA ladders here. The springs do seem a little like bent inward, so if I push the battery in, it's kind of hard to see, but it's like twisting the battery, twisting the terminal against itself. So they probably need replacing, or at least pushing into the correct position. Let's put a game in and just see if it reads the game. It does boot, and we do have sound as well. Turn the sound up a bit more. Yeah, so sounds perfectly fine. Continue, new game option, let's continue. Player Ash, badges 5, time 11:54, Pokédex 25, so test some of the buttons here. It's quite hard to see on these screens because they're so old and there's no backlight. So left and right seems to work okay. Up and down is fine. Start. Okay, so I think the start button is not working. Let's try and push it right in. Okay, so start button does come up, but it's not on every press. A works, B works, and then select. Probably get a ROM to test all the buttons on this better, but it seems like we've got a bit of issue with the start button, which is very common because it's the closest to the battery terminals if they ever did leak over time. So I think there's going to be some dirt and grime, hopefully stopping those buttons being pressed, but they could actually be some corrosion inside as well. So let's get this taken apart. We'll get it cleaned and maybe replace some of the capacitors just as a preventive measure and go from there. So I'm going to quick once over on the board. There's lots of dirt down the edge here, which is standard, but we can get that cleaned up. I don't see too much wrong with this from this side. So we'll go ahead and swap to a Phillips screwdriver and get the board out. That should just slot out nice and easily. There we go. Yeah, I don't see too much. In fact, I don't see any corrosion on this board at all. It looks to be in pretty good condition. No, this board's looking real good. Let's have a close up of this here just now. Yep, so on that start select area, I think there's a little bit of gunk on the start pads, which will be easily cleaned up with some IPA. But I think this is a really good condition board. I think the only thing we'll probably need to do is just maybe replace some of these terminals, because you can see there the spring here. Let's have a closer up. The spring, it like points down, so every time you try and put a battery in, it kind of pushes it like that. So we either bend it back up into position, or I'll just solder in a replacement one. And then a similar situation on the battery connect terminals in the shell itself. Again, that one's kind of pushed down, it just needs bending up, but it might just be, oh, there we go, just bend it back in position. Yeah, all looks really good. A little bit of tinsel I found in here. I'm going to focus here. So I don't know how that gets in there. Like I said, screen's good, speaker's good, don't need to bother replacing them. I think all we'll do is just put some replacement capacitors on, clean up the board, clean up the start button, and that's probably about it, and clean the shell as well. So not that interesting of a repair for this one, I'm afraid. So what I'm going to do is get the soldering iron heated up, remove those capacitors, and then replace them. So that is the soldering done. I hate this process. These surface mount components are so fiddly and difficult to get on. I suppose with practice I would get better, but I haven't done this for a while. Best thing we can do now is put it back in, give it some power, and just see if it boots up. So I'm just going to put it back together kind of sloppily. We'll put the screen on and just make sure that we get something on the display. So let's grab this top half. And of course the power switch fell out, so we'll just go ahead and flick it on with a pair of, where my tweezers gone? There they are. So go ahead and flick this on. Okay, again, it boots up, sound boots, no problem at all. So those capacitors are seated properly, soldered in properly, and ready to go. So I suppose the next thing to do is completely tear this back down and take apart pretty much all of the parts that we want to clean. So that's the back shell, the front shell, and just kind of give it a good cleaning down. But I would really like to be able to get rid of some of the scratches in the plastic, but I don't think there really is a solution for that. There's obviously methods out there of buffing out fine scratches, but then you end up like taking away part of the actual plastic itself. But anyway, let's get the buttons out, because they'll need a good cleaning. Yeah, they're filthy. And then get the screen out. So screen, I think I've showed this before in a couple of videos, just give it like a twist in opposite directions for the corners, and you'll hear like a click. That's just the adhesive releasing. I would do a couple of them just in different directions until you can get like a finger in and lift up one of the corners, and there out comes the screen. Try and keep this somewhere away from dust, like just facing upside down. Otherwise you find that you'll get loads of dust on the lens, on the screen. But the main issue is going to be cleaning this up and having this adhesive still good for putting the screen back in. We could always put down some more 3M tape, I suppose. But let's go and clean these, because this is pretty grim. It's not the worst, but that's nasty. Yeah, that's not good. Same with the buttons as well. There's something on the back end of this green one, just some kind of like fluff, I think it is. Ooh. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get them clean. These seem to be okay. The start and select button, clean them as well. On the board, I think I'll just go over that area with a bit of IPA. Yeah, you can see, I think I've shown before, ever slightly on that select button, or the start button, it's just a little bit dirty, so go ahead and clean that. So I'll get these cleaned and we'll get it put back together. Right, so I've got it cleaned up. We've taken as much grime and dirt as I can from the actual shell. Now it's obviously time to dry it and get it cleaned up and put back together. So all of the all of the button silicone membranes are really good. They're fine. They'll continue to be used, no problem at all. I'm just kind of finishing up going around on the shell itself, getting up all the last little bits of dirt and, well, also any moisture that's kind of stuck in the little crevices on the inside, which a cotton bud is really good for, but it still doesn't quite reach all of the individual little nooks and crannies. So that's where I've got one of these air blasters, which I originally brought this for cleaning out my car, just blowing all the dust out from the little nooks and crannies, but I feel like it'll work just as good on this, blowing all of the moisture out that's kind of stuck in between the crevices. So a good example, if we use it here, so I've got it on full power. So these little buttons underneath the button themselves, it'll look focused, that is a perfect place for water to sit in. I can't really get a cotton bud in fully without kind of like squishing it in there, so I'm just going to blast some air at it and that'll blast all the water out. So it is quite loud, so I won't bother speaking. And that's done a drying effect and also physically pushing all of the water out. So does a pretty good job. As well as blowing lots of things around my room off the desk and such. But the best place to use it really is on the back side of these shells, or the other side of the shell as well. I could obviously go around that with a cotton bud and it'll be fine. It's just going to take a bit of time, but I feel like I may as well blast the majority of the kind of water that's stuck in the corners out. Then just get a cotton bud and just clear up any excess. There's a bit there. There's also like moisture left on the cotton bud as well, so it kind of just puts itself back onto the area that you're trying to dry up. But honestly, in time, like the moisture that's in there will happily evaporate. You know, I could leave this out for a couple of hours and it'd be perfectly fine. That's all pretty much cleaned and dried the best I can. The dirt's off, but the effect of that dirt and the aging of the plastic is still quite evident. I did have to, getting out the battery terminal, it was kind of like mangled and messed up when I was trying to get it out, so I've had to kind of, well, that's broke. But luckily, a while ago I purchased some aftermarket replacement ones. I'm sure this is a Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color battery terminal that just slots in both of them, no problem. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Just slots in there, just like this. Do you know what? I don't think it does. So if I compare these two, the old one and the new one, they are pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is there is this little like part here, so right there, that sticks out too far compared to the old one. Okay, and get it up close. It doesn't jut out as much, which is pushing on the plastic. So I think I may have to just, I don't know, maybe I've got some pliers, I could just squeeze that flatter. I mean, that did something. It took the point out. Let's try that. There we go, that's fine. Yeah, that's perfect. So that's in, replacement there. On the board itself, I don't particularly think, oh my God, I don't think it needs a replacement on the board. It seems to be in good condition. We can just kind of bend it up into place a bit better. We've got more leverage on this one. Sorry, that was off camera. I was just kind of like messing with it, but that's going to be fine. There's no corrosion on the contact. There's no corrosion on the board. So we may as well just leave it. I did say I was going to clean up that start button. So try and get the tiniest amount of IPA here. And then just clean up on the start button. There we go. It's come away instantly. May as well do all the pads. Perfect. So really, all that's left to do now is just put it all back together. Ideally, in fact, I'm going to get a bit from my set, from the iFixit kit, and this is a SIM card release tool. That should fit through each one of these holes quite nicely, because I just want to clean out any dirt that's in there, because it just looks off. You can see the dirt in there, even though it's like the most minute amount, and every other hole on this is filled with plastic. So I think someone's like pushed Play-Doh into this before, because there's like lots of this pink stuff at the back. Let's see if I can get a close-up of this. So like in that one there, it's like pink Play-Doh. Let me pick it out. Yeah, I don't have a macro lens on. Where are we? But that's like some weird Play-Doh style gunk. So I'll just clean these out. It's quite a meticulous task. Yeah, that definitely was Play-Doh. I got a bit out and I like accidentally, oh, I've just done it again. I've smeared it onto the plastic. You can see that it's gone pink and it absolutely smells like Play-Doh as well. So that's 100% Play-Doh. Some kids pushed that in through the grill. Right, anyway, enough yapping. Let's get this put back together. Okay, so we are back together. It's as clean as I can get it. I think in a future video what I might do is find out if we can buff up this plastic in the best way we can. That doesn't guarantee that it's going to come out looking that good. There's still a bit of dirt up here that I'd like to get rid of on the com, the words com, but I think it's kind of like stuck in the scratches of the plastic, to be honest. I mean, if we compare it to how it was before in terms of dirt, it's obviously a lot better, but we just aren't going to get rid of these deep scratches unless we do something drastic with the plastic. So let's go ahead and give this a quick test to make sure that it still works, having put in a new battery terminal, which is just a piece of metal to make continuity. Oh, it's already in the on position, my bad. And it turns straight on. Let's stick Pokemon in. This also probably needs a good clean. I'll take this apart and have a look and see how bad that is. But yeah, reads the game, sound works. Let's see if the start button works. Actually, let's go straight into a game. Let's get the sound off because we don't want to copyright from the Nintendo lawyers. So continue. Yeah. So start. Okay, it kind of takes a bit of there we go. It's hit and miss. I mean, I don't know if that's because it's we cleaned it. It's a good hard press. It works every time. Like I'm pressing it solidly there, but there's one or two times we have to press it twice. That's a shame, but yeah. I don't know what I've done here. Okay, left, right, down, up. Yeah, that works. So we go into that. Yeah, B works as well. It's pretty much solidly working. I'll probably have to take it apart and take a quick look at those terminals, the contacts. But honestly, they were really clean. We gave them a clean up, so it might just be that the contacts on the rear of the start select might just be not making great contact or great continuity of the circuit. So I think I'll leave it there for this video on this particular Game Boy Color. I think these look really cool. I would love to have had one of these as a child. I get to have one as an adult, I suppose. I don't know if that's what I thought I would do when I was 8 years old and wanted a Game Boy. I thought, oh, I'll just get one when I'm in my 30s, but here we are. So yeah, I think next for this project we'll get a rear sticker replaced, and I'll see what we can do about the plastic and maybe try and tidy that up. But yeah, I want to make a bit more interesting videos and ones that I've not quite done before, but this one feels like it was just a generic fix and clean. But I hope you enjoyed it.